Yeah, so let's dive into the introduction of T'Vondre Sweat, defensive lineman out of Texas, picked at 38 overall in the second round. The Titans, once again, did not trade back like we were hoping they might. Sweat has a basketball background in high school. I'll let you guess what position he played. 3-star recruit, college roommates with running back Jonathan Brooks, who also went in this draft. Where did he end up going? Do you off the
He
top of your
went
head?
to the Carolina Panthers
That sounds
in
right. Yep.
48th
Yeah,
overall.
somewhere right there. He wears a massive chain around his neck that says "Make 'em sweat," which is gangster. And then he ranked third best amongst the best fits for defensive linemen in our buddy Zach Lyons over at Stacking the Inbox. He has a Titans fit rating, which is an analytical approach to the both on-field production and play style, combined with the off-field testing, athleticism, height, weight, measurables, all those things, combining that into a profile that fits what the Titans brass, Brian Callahan, Rand Carthon, historically have most liked to find a fit rating. And he was the third best fit among the defensive linemen in this class based on that fit rating. In 2022, he was an honorable mention all Big 12 player. And in his final season, he really broke out, won the Outland Trophy in his final season with Texas. 45 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 4 passes defended, was a unanimous All-American, winner of the Outland Trophy, which is an award given by the Football Writers of America to the best interior lineman in college, offensive or defensive. So he was the best interior player on any line. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, first team All Big 12, had a 2-yard touchdown catch, which is electric. I'm sure he'll be lobbying for that. Imagine the jumbo package, 2 deep. You got Jeffrey Simmons on one hip of Will Levis, T'Vondre Sweat on the other hip, 2-yard line. How do you cover that? I don't know. Good luck. And then a blocked point after attempt, a blocked PAT last season. Measurements, once again, off the chart, a beefy fellow. The Titans added over 700 pounds of offensive and defensive line help with their first 2 picks. 6'4.5", 366 pounds when he weighed in at the combine. Plays, at least in college, heavier than that. Ran a 5.27 40-yard dash despite that, which is hilarious. As we pointed out at the combine, he ran a faster 40 than both JT and I did at, like 150 pounds less. So that's, embarrassing for us, but crazy impressive for him. Some strengths listed by Dan Brugler in the Beast. Massive body type with proportionate thickness, long arms, and big hands. Displays grown man strength to bully blockers, which there are some folks that will tell you he doesn't play with strength. Don't listen to those folks. Flashes pop and power in his hands to swipe down blockers or puts them on their backside. One NFL scout told Brugler in the process, "Did you see the new Mario movie? When Donkey Kong pounds the snot out of Mario?" That gave me flashbacks to Sweat's film. He has surprising quickness for his size with range to make plays downfield. He can hold his ground versus double teams. More on that in a minute. Has a knack for finding passing lanes. 17 batted throws in his career, 6 in 2023. Has always been known for his smile and fun-loving attitude, but adopted more of a locked-in mentality in 2023 without losing his playful personality. Now the weaknesses, and there are plenty here. More concerns maybe than weaknesses, but there's plenty to talk about. He must keep his weight under control is number 1 on the list here. NFL scouts say he played the 2023 season at 380-ish. High cut, tends to play tall out of his stance, so going to have to keep his pad level low at the next level. Going to have to learn that, train that. Pass rush skills are a work in progress. Need to develop more move-to-move transitions in his pass rush arsenal. Showed improved conditioning in his final season, but was kept fresh, 35.9 snaps per game. More on that in a minute. Improved maturity during the 23 season, but was labeled a party animal and class clown. And this is the portion that you've heard for weeks now on T'Vondre Sweat online. As an underclassman, he was labeled a party animal and a class clown by many NFL scouts, who also questioned his commitment to becoming the best player he could. Converted some doubters after adopting more of a professional mentality in 2023, but was arrested and charged with DWI just weeks before the draft this month. In summary, overall, Sweat must continue turning the brilliant flashes into more consistency, but he is a rare athlete for his size, with the power and ingredients to be a dominant force against the run. Though he has the traits to become an impact NFL starter, he needs to stay conditioned and locked in to reach his potential. And Dan Brugler ultimately had a 4th round grade on him.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, right? 4th round grade, which is kind of interesting when you consider the recent history of it. But let's just take that for what it is at face value, with Dane Brugler in the Beast giving him a 4th round grade. The Titans take him in the second round at 38th overall. How could you categorize this as anything but a massive reach for the Titans based on the consensus big boards and Dane Brugler's board?
Right. So there's multiple elements to this, but none more important than that DWI that he was arrested for 3 weeks ago. If you go back in the Wayback Machine and just check, like, where was this guy before then? On Dan Brugler's big board, ended up at 129 overall. That was after the DWI, 4th round grade. Before that, he was 33rd. So obviously, that's like, unless something magical happened where tape was uncovered where he sucked all of a sudden, and Dan Brugler had to massively change his charting on the guy. That's a almost 100 position slide in Dan Brugler's ratings because of the DUI charge. On the consensus draft board, look at more than just Dane, right? Because there are more folks out here doing this than just Dane, even though he's the best in the business. Right around the 40th player is where Devondre Sweat was ranked all throughout January, February through March. 40th overall is where he hovered on their chart. And then after the DWI, by draft day, he had fallen to around the 70th player. So again, that DWI being the prime, really being the only thing that impacted him in that way. Now you go into how NFL teams perceive this. And for better or for worse, I think it was our buddy Zach Lyons who said this on our live stream on Saturday. NFL teams just don't care as much about that kind of thing than we do, than media does, than players, than fans do. Again, for better or for worse, that's not as big a concern for them if they talk to the guy and they learn from the guy and they figure out the situation. And Rand Carthen went on 104.5 earlier this week talking about how he was getting texts from executives around the league that they were going to take Devondre Sweat right after them in the second round. The Titans take him there at 38, and it caused a bit of a run on defensive tackles. You saw the next 3 or 4 top guys available at the defensive tackle position go in the next 12-ish picks. I should have written this down, but they all went.
It started
in
with
short succession, right?
With Rook Ohororo, and then
Right.
Johnny
Sweat.
Newton, and then Sweat, and then I believe
Fisk.
after that, Fisk and Dorless and all those guys, and Chris Jenkins to the Bengals, who they eventually took in the second round there.
Hello, Jaguars.
Mason Smith. Yep, exactly. Trent Baalke masterclass right there. It was a big round for defensive tackles in the second.
And so when a GM comes out the day after the draft and says something like that, obviously it's liable to just be a bald-faced lie. You have to take it with a grain of salt. But it seems pretty clear to me when they made this move and in the aftermath that the Titans at least believed that something like this was the case on Friday night when they made the pick. I'm sorry, if you think that they are dumb enough to take Sweat that far above the media consensus when they needed extra capital badly in the first place, and they knew it. If you think they're dumb enough to do that, unless they had a good reason to believe it may have been their only chance to land him, I don't know what to tell you. You just have a different opinion of these guys and their process than I do, because I don't think that's something that they would have willingly done. And it was pointed out by many that it's probably the Bengals or the Jaguars that were worried about coming up and getting their guy. And my money's on the Bengals. They need to replace DJ Reader. They took 2 defensive tackles back to back in the second and the third. Before the Titans made that pick, leading up to day 2, a lot of the talk was, hey, a great candidate for the Titans to trade down with if they wanted to move out of 38 would be the Bengals, because they had kind of the perfect, just so happened they had the perfect compensation package that would be a nice 1-for-1, 2-for-1 trade for the Titans. And so I think that's what was in the works and was probably one of the offers the Titans received for that pick. But then again, Jacksonville, they go with a defensive tackle there as well, and they were moving and grooving throughout the weekend. So I think it was one of those teams they were concerned about, and I'm willing to buy the fact that they were confident they weren't going to be able to get their guy Sweat unless they stuck at 38 and grabbed him.
Yeah, and that would make sense when it was the Bengals, because it was. It really felt like this entire time it was the Bengals and the Titans, the 2 teams that really poked around Sweat's camp the most. And you also saw basically on the week of the draft, when 30 visits were just wrapping up at the 11th hour, the Bengals invited Johnny Newton in, so they were very interested in him as well.